Hey folks, this is Mike Tango Whiskey coming at you with Hurt Feelings Report episode 20. It's been like 4 months. July 4th, August, September, October, November 4th. 4.5 months. So this is episode 20 of the Hurt Feelings Report. The Hurt Feelings Report is where I review my video comments for the past week and I select out and highlight and respond to the best insults and the best insights in the comments. And I will say this too. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm surprised people watch my channel, to be honest with you. And I learn a lot from people in the comments. I don't edit. I tend to shoot videos and I upload them. I don't reshoot. I don't do cuts. I don't do any of that stuff. So I say some stuff that's probably stupid or misstated or wrong or not accurate. And my viewing audience is very, very good at correcting me and setting me straight and making me smarter. So when I go through these comments and respond to the feedback, it's good for me, it's good for the audience, it's good for the channel. It's a win-win-win-win-win. So let's go ahead and jump right in. What videos did I put out over the past week? I should have been prepared for this, see? And I'm not. So let's see, content. All right, what do we got? Bible part 2, was that this week? Yeah, so on Monday, I had LDS Preppers Bible 2, the second part, or the updated version of that came out. Video's doing pretty well. I put out the which is more useful, the pick or the compass video. That got a lot of reaction. That was a great one. And I released my one bag video where I put my EDC, my work, and my get home, all of those contents into one 20-liter Vertex bag. And then yesterday, I think I released the banned books for SHGF, went over some useful printed materials that could help us, post-collapse, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'll be reading the comments from those few videos here over the past few weeks, or past week. So let's jump right in. First comment. This is in response to the Snap video about us being potentially wrong about the chaos, and that was put out like 2 weeks ago. Marshall Cerna 3206, becoming a regular commenter. He says, I feel responsible for this video, and look at the response. Maybe not as many views as some of your other videos, but it looks like more than most. Well done. I appreciate your angle on this. Being present, laugh, have joyful days. We need these things. Amen. Yeah, I agree, brother. Now, he talks about me not voting. So I don't vote. I don't see the point in voting. I don't think it matters. I don't think it makes a difference. So he's trying to dissuade me on that a little bit. He says, I don't think it's lost on how similar that sounds to those people who frown on the heightened level of prepping. Now, maybe for some reason you don't believe voting is prudent. Not that I don't believe it's prudent, like prepping would be prudent. I just don't believe it makes a difference. Like, I don't believe it actually makes a difference when people vote. But I'm here to tell you it's okay even if nothing happens. Do it for the maybe. I see. Okay. It could make a difference in some way that makes things easier for you and yours. I'm not suggesting you make content about voting, and I certainly don't suggest how to weigh in on how you vote. Just consider it as something that you do personally, especially where you live. If they email you about ballot and then send it back. So he's not being facetious. He says, thanks for the great video. I appreciate that, Marshall. Here, it's for people who, and I'm not saying you don't, but I'm saying just in general, for people who understand how the voting system works, there are a select few counties, especially in the presidential election, a select few counties in a select few states that actually choose the next president. And let's just wipe the slate clean and assume that there were 2 candidates and there was, 100 people on either side, and there was only one state where we were voting this person in charge. And it came down to 51 to 50 votes. Or there was 101 people voting and 101, or 2 people voting. Let's say there were 3 people voting and 2 people voted for this guy, and then 1 person voted for that guy. Then really only 1 vote counted. Only 1. If the vote can come down to 1 vote, then that's the only vote that matters in that exact scenario, and it hardly ever does. I mean, there are close races where they're within a few thousand, but it really, each and every vote counts. I think numerically that's just not accurate. It's just not true. And even if that was the way the system worked nationwide, it also wouldn't be true, because we do the, what is it, the Electoral College and the, and let's say I conceded all of that all of those things worked perfectly just like they should. Whoever sits in that chair, all we get, and I sound like a broken record because I said this in many videos, all we get is more debt, more war, and less freedom. I think left and right, blue and red, are the illusion of choice. I firmly believe that. And I think the inevitable path that this world is on was, I'm a Bible believer, man. So I don't think it matters what's happening in politics. I think all the stuff that Scripture says is going to happen is going to happen. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I don't consider myself a citizen of this world, like Scripture talks about, and I don't consider politics any of my business. I would rather people focus on it. It just feels like sports ball to me. It just does. Like we're like, hey, my team, go lasers and larks, and I don't think it makes a difference. And I won't waste my time doing it. I won't waste my time doing it. Now, you could maybe make the argument for local elections. That might be a more plausible argument, but I see the same kind of nonsensical stuff going on there. I'm post-political, man. I don't know if there's any pulling me back from that. So it's kind of black-pilled, but it's just where I'm at. But thank you for the comment. Banned books video. Someone says the King James Bible, not one of, but the most important book to have. I agree. I said yes. I watched Book of Eli again last night. So yeah, I would agree with that statement, sir. Banned books, not to poo-poo the publisher of the full auto book, but I would like to explain to laymen that being fully automatic is almost never a good thing. It's not like a race car where 10 miles per hour faster equals better. I was a Marine infantryman, did it for 2 years in Iraq, bunch of deployments. He said they had auto and 3-round burst selected on the selector switch on the AR-15 or the M16 or M4 in this case. And the number of times I ever put my weapon on or fired my weapon on burst, I can count on one hand. In 2 years of real, honest-to-goodness combat operations as an infantryman, about the only situation I can recall it being a good option was in the pitch black of night during Operation Steel Curtain, where we were establishing OPs in a city and I was pulling security on a door leading to the bathroom. How many rounds can you put through the door 6 feet away as quickly as possible with minimum aiming under NVGs? The answer was burst. But for 99.9% of all other use cases, it's safe or semi. This is a great point. Thank you, Marine Sir, Jazz Trapper 190. I completely agree. So I showed this book, one of the banned books on, it talks about conversion to full auto. Full auto is kind of dumb. I know there's tons of Minuteman videos right now on YouTube that say that at some point we need a machine gunner to lay down suppressive fire because we're on a guerrilla team doing, CQB in the jungle facility. It's a waste of ammo. Let's say I had a weapon that had an FRT, which apparently right now in this short window are legal currently, but like an FRT, which basically fires as fast, if not faster than full auto sometimes. I probably would never shoot it. Like the only time I could see that being fun is at the range where you're just letting people like blow through a magazine. And all I'm thinking about is that was $30. Like I'm never doing that again. So suppressive fire, when am I going to need to? This guy's right. He's right, man. And he's talking from experience. I think suppressive fire and FRTs are kind of dumb. I'd still like to have one, but I don't, and I don't know that I ever will. Like I can't imagine a use case where I would probably need that. If my Tango Whiskey is in a firefight, laying down suppressive fire, we have bigger issues. Banned books video. This guy says whatever. Laugh out loud, it didn't take you long to start using clickbait. How frickin' dare you, sir? I thought about this. I got 2 of those comments in that video. Someone's like, these books aren't banned. This is clickbait. Aren't all video titles clickbait? Aren't all video titles? Like, what would be the 100% pure version opposite of this? Would be no title and no thumbnail. Just like a picture, just like the algorithm. Because when you load a video to YouTube, it will choose a picture of from the video, a snapshot from the video automatically. But they're always stupid. It's always got me like in the middle of saying something dumb. Like, yeah, we post videos on YouTube for people to watch. We want people to click on those videos and see the content. We want them to appreciate and use and like the content. Hopefully subscribe and like the video. That's why we're on YouTube. That's like seeing some product on the shelf and being like, can't believe you put low fat on this box. But like, yeah, I'm trying to get you to buy it. That's what we're doing here. I am trying to use this as a springboard to help my family be more prepared. That requires resources that I don't currently have. So, yeah, I said, how dare you? Also, did you click? And he said, yeah, I did. He goes, turned out it was a good video. So I appreciate your comment, sir. It made me think. But yeah, I like to think I'm not too far. I don't use fear or fantasy. I'm trying not to use fear or fantasy in my thumbnails, but thumbnails come like real close. I want people to click on the video. Of course I do. He's like, how did that happen quickly? My channel's been out for like 4 months. Everything that I've done has happened quickly. Banned books video. This guy says, Palmenti Outdoors says, I always feel uncomfortable ordering books like these online. I'd much rather pay cash somewhere and be done with it. Yeah. Feels like I'm setting off a red alert somewhere in a dark room with a lot of headsets and a blue light. That being said, I probably won't have them for long as I've lost so many great things on the water. My boat insurance is through the roof. Yeah, yeah, me too, right? Like those boat accidents are so much valuable stuff just gone in an instant. You think we'd give up boating, but we just don't. This title is clickbait. What about these books are banned? If you were able to buy them and get them shipped to your house and go on the internet and tell thousands of people about these books, then there's nothing banned about them. I'm gonna click on your name there, Andrew R05. Oh, you have a channel. Mr. 16 subscribers. Hello, sir. Oh, you off-road? That's pretty dope, actually. I like your channel. I might even subscribe. That backfired. Yeah, of course it's clickbait. So what are banned about these books? If they were banned, I probably wouldn't have done the video, right? So I thought after he changed, I was going to change the thumbnail to say banned for SHTF, banned books for SHTF, ? Then it would change it into like, are they banned? I don't know. But someone else commented that they live in Europe somewhere and some of these books actually are banned where they're at. So that's what I said. I said, many of my viewers live in Europe. Yeah. But they're sketchy, they're spicy, right? I didn't feel comfortable like going into the meaty part of the content. So I was like, well, I don't know about that. Get me in some trouble. Banned books video says, your video reminded me of a company that once sold all of these books and many more. Paladin Press. They were sued a few times over their Hitman Independent Operator books and others. I remember those books. I remember a catalog. My dad had like a catalog of all these books. It was crazy. We used to converse on the possibility of the company really being owned by the government just to keep track of who had particular predilections. That's very possible. Now all they have to do is find out virtually everything, is check their SIM card on their phones. Yeah. Paladin Press. Warhammer Press, and then the Desert. I actually looked at, I tried to put, was it Desert Publications in the, I thought it was a website, but it's not. It's Delta Press. So I actually put Delta Press in the comments of that video. But there's a couple other websites that sell that stuff too. It's just super spicy. Hot Dog Bobby says on my banned books video, the Bible is not important. I said, how dare you? Please watch the Book of Eli. So, the Bible is not important. Here's a controversial take. I think you can be a Christian and live a godly life without the Bible. I have rarely seen people get saved through the Bible, right? Like read the book and then get saved. Most of the time I see people get saved where God gets a hold of them and then they believe the Bible. I've rarely seen people read the Bible, believe, and then get saved, But it's nice. It's sure nice that God put all that in one spot for us to get a hold of. It's good for instruction. It's good for clarity. It's good for wisdom. It's a kind of a pulling back of the curtain into how God operates, how he thinks, how he manages humanity and his plans for the future. The Bible it's the best, man. It's the best. It's the best of all books. It's the best-selling book on the planet, I think. The Bible is not important. It is important. How dare you? What are you even doing here? I almost clicked on your name. I'm just kidding. For those of you that aren't Bible thumpers like me, fanatics, you can still watch my videos. That's fine. Heresy. That's what I should have said. Which is more useful, a pick or a compass? I talked about people being able to kind of figure out cardinal directions without a compass. Don't forget satellite dishes. They are usually pointed towards the equator, south in the US. I didn't know that. Why is that? Why are they only pointed south? My one bag to rule them all. Yo, I'm gonna need an hour of you organizing your EDC stuff. I got my wife's putting up pictures, which she was mad at me because I wasn't doing it. So that knocking, that's her knowing that I'm recording, putting up the pictures. How dare she? Hey! It's fine. So a long form video. So most of my videos I shoot for the 15 or 20 minute mark, except the Hurt Feelings Report, which is usually like an hour. I don't do long form stuff because when I first was doing it, my videos were long and people were like, gosh, shut up, shorten it up. But maybe the occasional long form video, I could definitely do that. I could talk for an hour very easily. I try to keep it to 15 minutes because that seems to be the natural threshold for people's attention span. I won't watch a video if it's 30 minutes unless I'm really interested in the subject. So I think I will do a long form video on my one bag, my EDC work and get home one bag. I talked about how I kind of fit everything in there, but I didn't do an individual breakdown. I've been carrying it that way for a week. So I figure I'll probably carry it for one more week and then do a video on that. So that's to come. I can definitely do that. Several people actually asked for that. My Ready for Hard Times video? I don't understand. This guy must be a bot. Max Gomez-17H or I7H. He goes, last year, California passed, in 2024, California passed a school bond issue to voters, $8 billion that will destroy the economy. California is spending $8 billion that they don't have from a future from property taxes, $8 billion to remodel schools. Nothing else matters except this $8 billion bond spending bill passed by voters in California to remodel the schools. The end has come. I looked up the school bond remodeling bill that borrowed $8 billion to spend. There's like 4 more of these. I said, are you a robot? He must be a robot, right? Who would do that over and over and slightly change it? That has to be AI. Is AI in my comments? You hear me now, robot. We will win, you son of a motherless circuit board. Get out of my comments. We don't want you here. You're not welcome here. Which is more useful, compass or pick? YouTube Critic. This guy must have a channel. YouTube Critic. This channel is so important. So many people get lost in having exactly what they think they need and don't stop to consider what would really help them. The average American is surrounded by doors, not trees. I love that. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. I appreciate that compliment. That's a great way to articulate my philosophy on that. Most Americans are surrounded by doors, not trees. Now, I want to be surrounded by trees, but I'm just not. I'm not on a daily basis. I love that. That should be on a t-shirt. But nobody will get that it's the pick that they want, right? Yeah. Which is more useful? I would argue that the most useful tool, at least for me, is a pair of loppers and some construction gloves. That and a swimming suit. Are you being sarcastic? Chainsaw, some hedgerow trimmers, a power drill, ruler, hammer, and nails. Your tool doesn't work around bends. I use a cut piece of tin can shell where I cut a flat piece out and then put a hook in it. Oh, like a flat hook. Yeah. Really, though, you don't need to be breaking into other people's things. If you have to do that, steal from others in an apocalypse situation, then you haven't adequately prepped, and therefore you're not a prepper. How dare you? So again, I've never advocated to break into people's stuff. In a legit emergency situation, there are emergency exceptions to escape weather, to escape violence, that kind of stuff. That's all I'm talking about. Getting to shelter or resources in an actual emergency situation. But in like a post-collapse SHTF, like Book of Eli type scenario, if you have to steal from others in an apocalypse, you haven't adequately prepped? What are you talking about? Everybody's stuff is going to run out. Like you have enough stuff nobody has enough stuff to last the apocalypse. Come on. Eventually, we're all going to be marauders if we go far enough down that road. Go watch The Road. Now that's a terrible movie. Good movie, but terrible, you know. One bag to rule them all. Each person's needs are different. Duh. Because of the environment you are in, what climate? But what if it happens? What if the event happens that can be anything? And in an instant, your EDC bag can become a bug out bag. Because you never know what will happen. You never know what will happen. And instead of going home, you might end up bugging out. This is pretty classic prepper thinking, right? SHTF, any moment, everywhere, all at once, super severe, long term, all in an instant. Yeah, I feel like the bag that I've put together. First of all, I would not, instead of deciding to go home, decide to bug out to somewhere else. Now you're saying, so what if something forces you to do that? Even if the situation was bad enough to make me have to leave my immediate area, my first and only priority would be to get to my family. I would even take a riskier path home to make it to my wife and children before I would take a safer path to secure myself. And you can't carry all that crap with you, man. You have to draw the line somewhere. Every prepper does. Here's a scale of like, you know, an AR with a full battle loadout and, you know, a machine gunner's loadout and a Eberly stock, you know, destroyer backpack, like as your EDC. Everybody you can only carry so much stuff. You can only carry that stuff so far. So everybody draws a line somewhere. I'm drawing my line a little bit further this way, where I think most people are, than a lot of the prepper stuff I see on YouTube. So what if you come home? This is another one. Pete66. What if you come home and there is no more home? Maybe war or fire and the house is gone, or riots in the house and streets. You need a complete inch winter bug out bag with a hot tent and wood stove to survive out there in the cold. I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic. Are you being sarcastic? I feel like if you said that to somebody, everywhere you go, you need an inch bag with a hot tent and a wood stove. He must be joking. He must be joking. I said an EDC inch bag. Now that would be an accomplishment. So my bag goes EDC, work, some bug out, or some get home, right? So it's like 21 liters. 20 liters. That's a small bag. So he's saying an inch EDC and an inch bag, which is I'm never coming home bag. All in one bag. I joked. I said, now that would be an accomplishment. Probably a 21 liter bag though. Yeah, an EDC inch bag? No, that's funny. That's some Canadian prepper stuff. Okay, number 9516. Did I ever click and see? This guy had a legitimate gripe with me. No videos of his own to criticize, but instead of fantasizing about backlash, you can just own both, the compass and the pick. which I obviously do, right? The compass you held holds tools that built society. There's more to a compass than shooting a heading. This entire video is a useless, false dichotomy. That will probably be my thumbnail. That's pretty good. It sounds super scientific, so I'm going to repeat it. Useless, false, dichotomy. And then I'm going to spell dichotomy wrong. Dichotomy. And then he repeats another one. He does a second comment. Why are compasses, especially the MC2, which I showed, always reduced to being in the woods? Laugh out loud. Measuring distance matters. Mirrors are always useful. Measuring inclines matter. Forensial, he spelled that wrong, but forensial lenses are useful. This is such a weird argument. It sounds like you just don't know how to use the tool in your hand. Now, I'm not going to argue that I'm a compass expert, but I do know how to use a compass. I said, I feel like you posted this before you watched the whole video and then posted the comments afterwards. I obviously own both and use them as appropriate for a given scenario. And I use the argument that, you could say the West was built with a sword, and we should carry a sword. Like, I don't know about that. I said, here's the point. This video was meant to get preppers thinking about the gear we prioritize for our specific context. 95% of bag videos on YouTube tell us we need a compass, even though 83% of us live in the suburbs or in the city. So we're not in the woods. Also, how dare you? Tourists around here make it into the HFR. There you go, sir. He says, it seems like you're being contrarian because it feeds the algorithm in engagement. This doesn't make sense for 68% of the people. Instead of making an argument how okay, he goes on, kind of a long one. People are so stuck on being in the woods. Since when does a compass only work in the woods? You can just look, yeah, he says he didn't post those two comments differently. He said I was being contrarian. I said, I feel like you're being contrarian just because it feeds the algorithm in engagement. I said, I'm also contrarian in real life, so thanks for feeding the algo. He says, he laughed at that. He goes, as they always say, they don't want to entertain. They don't want certain perspectives saying too much in the comments. Oh, effing hack. Oh, he's calling me an effing hack. I didn't see that one. Oh. Yeah, do I want engagement? Of course I want engagement. Am I being contrarian to get engagement? I am contrarian in real life. I will say this. I am a fan of originality and creativity, okay? Part of what inspired me to start my channel was seeing the same stuff over and over and over on YouTube. So when I do a video, I do my best to present an original, to me. I don't copy other people's videos, and I see a lot of that going on YouTube. I don't copy other people's videos, and I try to make it my own original creativity. That's important to me. Now, what that means, though, is I won't always be right. I won't always be accurate. I won't always be as well stated as I should be because, maybe I haven't thought it through well enough, or I have a bad take. That is going to happen over and over and over on my channel, and I'm okay with that. Does that feed the algorithm? Probably, maybe. What a hack. Did I just confess to being, maybe I am a hack, I don't know. If I didn't want certain perspectives in the comments, I would delete your comments, and I don't delete comments. So there it's gonna sit for the rest of my time on YouTube. Your comment will get all the views that you want it to, sir. So thanks for the comment, I appreciate it. He says, someone said about my one bag video, crazy amount of stuff and weight to carry around every day. Nowhere to stash an extra item, sandwich, or a regular item you need to take to work that day. I quoted Luke Skywalker. I said, every word of what you just said is wrong. So I did weigh it. Now, my EDC bag weighs 22 pounds. Now, that's not light for an EDC bag. It weighs about the same as my hunting pack, which is a lot, right? It's light for a hunting pack, but heavy for an EDC bag. But the size of it, I've been carrying it for 2 weeks. The weight doesn't bother me. It's fine. In fact, it's a little bit of an exercise, which I enjoy. It's not heavy enough or bulky enough to stop me from carrying it. And I think that's the important point. If it's too heavy or too big for you to carry, then you won't carry it. For me, this bag is right in that sweet spot. There is somewhere to stash an extra item. So there's a little bit of space in the top, just enough for like one extra item. And I've since added an umbrella. I can fit a jacket in there. And it says no item you need to take to work that day. Everything I need for work is in that bag all the time. Now, in a get home scenario, what would happen is those things would come out of my bag, making more room for other things. My laptop and my instructor bag would probably be left at, and the speaker, all of those would be left at work if I did have to get home in a get home scenario. So there would be room created for other items, even though currently there's just enough space for one more item. Yeah, how dare you? Hurt Feelings Report, an older one, 16, says, I'm at a point where I feel like there's too many conflicting opinions and information on here, here. Is it here on that video? It's my response to the No Kings video. I believe that you are centrist libertarian, a liberal libertarian. I'm not. I'm not that. You don't like the government, but also have a vision for where it's supposed to go. Don't have a vision for where it's supposed to go. I don't believe you should have made the original video, but it makes sense for you to defend yourself. My best idea and recommendation is to ignore it because people spend their lives looking at the numbers and evidence of evil. I don't understand that. Unless you want to be political, do not speak on politics unless you are ready to engage in politics and pick a side. It's like going into a sports bar saying the coach sucks, and then when everybody gets angry, you say you don't watch sports. That's a pretty good analogy. So here's what he responded again, and I haven't read that yet. That's a fair point, right? He's like, well, why did you talk about politics? That video was not meant to be about politics. That video was actually meant to be specifically for preppers to avoid mobs of angry people. Now, I didn't articulate it perfectly, and I saw backlash for it, which that's fine. But I responded, I said, pick a side is the problem. Okay, that's the point. When he goes, if you're ready to engage in politics, don't speak on politics. First of all, don't tell me what to do. Second of all, don't engage in politics unless you're ready to pick a side. That is the problem. That's the problem, is that, you know, whenever somebody's engaged in politics, that's their first instinct is, okay, what is politics? Well, politics is picking a side. Again, it's Coke and Pepsi. They're both rotting your teeth, and they're both giving you diabetes, right? So using his analogy, I said, pick a side is the problem. So I'm going to use your analogy. I say, I'm going into the sports bar and telling people that I love, telling the people that I love that sports is rigged and a waste of their time. That's what I feel like. So using that analogy, I'm not just going in there kicking up dust and then being shocked when people get angry. I'm telling people that I'm close to, hey, all sports is rigged. It's rigged. It's a waste of your time. They don't know who you are, and they're not your team. They don't care about you. That's what I feel like I'm doing. He gave me a couple, in translation, politics is fully chronically online. People who can't wait to rip apart a viewpoint. It's your duty to defend yourself. Yeah. Platform. Oh, this is a long response, so I can't read the whole thing, but I appreciate you. I don't feel like you're being a jerk here, but my concern currently is Democrats and Republicans truly do play the same role. Yeah. I'll come back to your comment, man, and read it, maybe respond to it. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. If I foray into politics, it's to tap people on the shoulder, be like, hey man, both of these guys they're both faking it. They're both lying to you. Let's go over here and do this other thing. Okay. My one bag video, people who say you don't need anything, just grab a water bottle and go home, are falling victim to normalcy bias. I know you brought it up in the comments before, but it's such a strong force. He says, that's normalcy bias. Stop it, bad prepper. So why would we assume and plan for a situation where things go bad enough that you have to drop everything and run home. But at the same time, there won't be any other complications or compounding negative effects, and the journey back will be uneventful and exactly the same as every other normal day. That's normalcy bias. Stop that, bad prepper. So here's my response. In this, he responded to, I don't check these responses, so I come back and I'm like, oh shoot, he fired back. In this video and bag, I show the tools and equipment for self-defense, 4 liters of water, food, lighting, signaling, fire, entry tools, shelter, radio comms, medical, all inside 20 liters. And that's me suffering from normalcy bias. I feel like it's a pretty good kit, pretty complete kit. He says, no, but you are suffering from a lack of reading comprehension. In this video, you also explicitly mention the people who told you that you don't need anything that's in your bag. I'm addressing those people when I start with people who say, my bad, dude. Thought you were talking about me. Copy. Look, that's the problem. So sometimes there is no sarcasm font. So sometimes I get it wrong. I said copy tango. Thank you, man. In my hard times video, this is nothing surprising. Some Americans been mistreated by the corporation. The military is always hiring. Since y'all love America so much, head to the front lines. You're obviously a tourist, Sir Walter Foster. Do you have a YouTube channel? Nope. How dare you? Get into the ring, sir, or clamp down. I've been there, done that. I served 24 years. Not on the front line, but I was on the back line, the front line of the chow hall, making sure Marines got omelets. So maybe you have a stolen valor. Maybe that's what you've got. This guy says, Patriot Ordnance, 1 bag. Instead of trying to get everything into 1 bag, try working on a new studio. How dare you? I don't have a studio. It's my garage. If you want to fund my endeavors, join as a member. He says, try cardboard or a blanket. No money involved. Wake up and smarten up. It's okay. I still love you. All right. Good. I'm glad, Patriot Ordnance. I feel like you're a regular commenter, so I won't take that to heart. A blanket or cardboard? Do you know how long it took me to find each one of these lightly used tools and place them carefully so they filled up the screen back here? Do you know how long it took me? My whole time here. That's how long. This is not a set. This is my real workstation. This is my happy place in my house where my kids they still touch my stuff, but it's where my wife rarely comes to get me. A set. Yeah, if I make it big time, you guys will know that because this will be all fake. There'll be a whole fake set and I'll do something different. That's funny. Just get a new set. You buy me a set. Send me some money and I'll get a new set. A sheet. That's so ghetto. A sheet or cardboard. But I love you too. Please stop. Please keep watching. Celtic Barbarian. I feel like this guy has gotten on me before. This is which is more useful. If you're next to the road, people will set up ambush positions. Being in the woods gives you concealment from opportunistic criminals, hoodlums. No, we rule the woods, finding caches and rallying points on faces. Okay. Celtic Barbarian, sir. So you're saying you would want a compass to stay off the road and in the woods when roving bands of criminal hoodlums are ambushing us. That sounds like Book of Eli, which is cool. Yeah. That sounds like SHTF stuff though. This video will probably break the internet. Talking about my compass pick video. There is a video on courage on this channel. This is an example of courage. Oh, I'm courageous. Love the common sense approach on navigating for a 68%er. As someone who lives in the PNW, a straight line will most likely not be the best way out of the woods. Thanks for the comment. I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of people, I just don't think I'm gonna need a compass. Compass versus pick. The whole concept of prepping is preparing for situations or conditions that may come up in the future. I can envision a situation where you may need to navigate in an urban setting when streets aren't safe. That means using backyards, unmarked alleys, through buildings, or even across rooftops. In those instances, a compass would be very useful. See, I disagree. So backyards and alleys and rooftops are still on straights. We still have straight lines. I don't think anybody would use a compass in that situation. I don't think they would. He says a compass weighs nothing. It's like an extra bic in your backpack. Yeah, I know. Can't hurt to have one, but there's a reason to, and there's no reason not to have one. Yeah. So Colonel Schmuckatelli defended me. He goes, rooftop evasion. It's not just for video games. I know, I thought of the Matrix. Like, first thing I thought of the Matrix. It's like, how far can you jump exactly? Getting more correction on General Mattis and the Roman Empire used concrete. Thank you, sir. You know what's funny? People keep correcting me on General Mattis, as usual, and also on concrete. And he goes, I've gotten figures on 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. One guy said 8,500 years ago we had concrete. I feel like nobody knows other than it was more than 100 years. My pick video, one guy says, show us how to use it. I said, no. I have a short on that if you guys want to see it. Doesn't work on every door every time, but it works on some of the doors some of the time. 60% of the time it works every time. Your first mistake, pick versus compass, your first mistake is putting a use rating on different tools. Your second mistake is forgetting the meaning of being prepared. By your logic, you should not carry a tourniquet, signaling device, because you'll never use them. Most emergency items are never used until the one time an emergency happens, then you need them to survive. I guess you can't fix stupid. I said tourists end up in the HFR. Yeah, a couple times, even one of my respected friends on here, not you, sir, but Wasteland by Wednesday, he says that too. So in the video, I say something because I've never used a compass. That's not a great logic to not use, to not carry something. That's true. That's the same for a firearm and a tourniquet. So I've never had to put a tourniquet on. I've never had to shoot somebody, but I carry a weapon and I have a tourniquet in my medical kit, right? Yes, that's bad logic, but that wasn't the only logic that I used. So let's use a firearm as an example. I've never had to shoot somebody. I have drawn my weapon about 3 times, and I've had my hand on it dozens of times. I come into contact with dangerous people, what I would evaluate as dangerous people in the city on a regular basis. So to me, that's more likely. I've never accidentally woken up and be like, oh, am I in the woods? What? Where are all the straight lines? That's never happened. It's just less likely. Okay. So in the likelihood of having to use deadly force, being in the city every day for most of the day, I think I'm more likely to use a firearm than I am a compass. So I stated that because I've never had to use a compass. That is a bad logic. But again, that wasn't my only line of logic in that video. So, but I get what you're saying. That's a good point. Which one is more useful? Talking of needs, does anyone need a little hatchet with a subpar handle fix? Oh, is this 80s Scout? You son of a mother, how dare... I'll see you in the live tomorrow, sir. You and I will talk about this for sure. Okay, 80s Scout, same guy. So you've never had to use a compass, therefore you will never need one. Again, yeah, not a great line of logic there. I expect a video from you advocating why not having a firearm in a get-home bag is a pretty good because you've never had to use one, at least statistically. The word never can get us into trouble. Yes, that's true. I feel like I've addressed that comment previously. Okay. Job Loss says, I take a compass everywhere. They're great for drawing circles. I see. That's well done. I see what you did there, sir. He's like, who doesn't carry a compass? I need to draw circles every day. Robert Shepard's 1858, which is more useful. He says, this is the first time I'm commenting on any of your videos, but you're always so right. Haha. I live in the Netherlands, and if you didn't use your compass in your settings, then that just confirms it for me. The Netherlands is way too small to even get lost anyway. How small is the Netherlands? Is it like Delaware small? I love your sobering and critical way of thinking. It helps me prepare for life instead of fear. You are the sole reason I picked up prepping again. Dang, thank you, man. That's That's impactful. Thank you for putting that comment. I appreciate that. Seller559 says, I've got it. A compass with a pick attachment. Just 3 easy payments. Yeah. A pick with a compass in the Well, Wasteland by Wednesday just sent me 500 button compasses. Look at this. What am I gonna do with this? Like this? You guys would never watch again. What a hypocrite if I did that. But that's not a bad idea for a tool, a pick with a compass on the bottom. If I did it though, the compass wouldn't work. It would just be broken. You'd be like, what the? There'd be no letters on there, just hash marks. It'll just say use the streets. Oh shoot, that's funny. That's a good one. Okay, Prepper's Bible Part 2. There is an older, restricted version that includes firearm stuff, not for public consumption. I am told by a few LDS members. Never heard of that. Are you thinking of something from Rangar Benson? I was in Afghanistan and talking to a senior NCO who was 59. You had a 59-year-old senior NCO? Oh my gosh. He was LDS and said they have a different version. Yeah, all the LDS soldiers I served with were excellent Americans. What is an excellent American? So I was actually, it's funny. So I had the original manual, then the author sent me the updated one, and then he sent me another email and said that he could send me the for LDS only members one, like for the leadership one. So I may have a secret prepper manual coming, which would necessitate a part 3 to those videos. So now that's a banned book, the unattainable prepper Bible, one that you guys can't get. How about restricted prepper Bible? Firearms video, firearms for the 68%. That was great advice. I wanted to disagree with everything because you started with, this is not a firearms channel. But honestly, this is great advice. Well done. Thank you, sir. Craig H. Ramsden. No videos for me to critique, but I appreciate that. I might do some follow-up videos to that. Again, not showing any firearms, but I've gotten a lot of questions like, okay, my advice kind of extended to purchasing, like what guns to purchase and kind of a philosophy for doing that. But then what? Maybe another video on magazines, ways to carry that firearm in those magazines, you know, kind of like extending that a little bit further. Because it's kind of like these concentric rings. We're like, oh, I need a weapon for self-defense. And then I need ammo. And then, well, ammo in a can doesn't do me any good. I need a magazine. And how many magazines, you know, so I may do more. So a couple more follow-up videos on that. So, one guy said, you don't need these, like my second video ever. This guy says, mine is staying the way it is. I'm getting home. Trust me on that. And I'm like, okay. A lot of times people post something, they're like this, and I just go, okay. Thanks for the comment. There was concrete in ancient Rome. Thank you, sir. I am well aware of how old concrete is now. I'm going to be so smart about concrete and Marine Corps generals by the time my channel's done. Oh yeah, LDS disavow. Not disavow. LDS avow. If you have any specific interests, I can also send along the actual authorized leadership edition. There seems like there is no small degree of confusion among your LDS members about the difference between Handbook 1 and Handbook 2. So I said, that would be awesome, sir. Yeah, send it to me. Send it my way, my friend. A secret prepper book? Are you kidding? Yeah, that's going to be cool. Prepper's Bible Part 2, public information as opposed to more for their own. I have known some wonderful Mormon people. I truly consider them friends and even extended family. I have no idea what they want to be called. Yeah, they kind of changed their title a little bit. But let's face it, most of them, and certainly the leadership, are not open to everyone and anyone who is not in their church, especially if S would hit the fan. They will care for their own only. I can tell you that the Mormon-run businesses and towns, their own, get preferential treatment. Looks like an interesting resource for many. Yeah, so I felt kind of bad. So I'm black-pilled on human nature, right? I'm a Bible believer, so I believe the worst about people until they prove otherwise. So I think anybody is capable of great evil under the right circumstances. And I think if times get hard, people will choose their own. So my assumption was that, and I have seen that. So I've been around LDS and they're great people, no doubt about that. And I've gotten a lot of people, LDS, in my comments saying, no, the church would always help everybody everywhere all the time. But I've kind of seen some of what this guy's talking about, right? Like I know that and I'm okay with that, by the way. Like if I had a secret club, all my secret club members would come first. I've been part of secret clubs. I've started secret clubs. That's what a secret club is about. So I'm actually cool with that. I like it. And I want to be part of, not that club, but I want to be part of a secret club. Again, you know, I love secret clubs. So I don't see anything wrong with that. But I could see how members of the church are like, whoa, the church helps everybody. But man, in tough times, in hard times, people go crazy. But I don't want to assume that about people who are saying, I would never do that, and say, yes, you would. That's not my place to do that, but I appreciate you. Episode 19, Hurt Feelings Report. This is the Mike Tango Whiskey coming at you to shatter your preparedness dreams. Hey folks, this is Mike Tango Whiskey coming at you to shatter your preparedness dreams. That's good. Maybe I'll use that. Firearms for 68%ers. I suppose this is fine if all you care about is prepping. I don't. I'll own and shoot whatever I choose. Okay. Thank you, sir. Someone says, do a live stream with Mrs. Whiskey. I don't think so. She's the boss of me. You guys don't want to see me get bossed around, do you? And be like, sorry. Yeah, that'd be funny. Episode 19. I'm just thinking about my wife being on with it would either be really great for the channel or completely destroy my channel. I'm not sure. I want to find out. Hurt Feelings Report, episode 19. My own situation. My primary weapon for home defense is a pump action 12-gauge shotgun with buck. Whenever I leave my house, it's a 9mm pistol. Where I live, home invasions are with 3 criminals at once. F that pistol at home. Yeah, good luck. Multiple assailants with that 9mm pistol. Reality isn't John Wick. So, and I pushed back. I said a 12-gauge is more effective at engaging multiple assailants. That seems to be more John Wick than a pistol. So this is Rob Smart 9408. So this guy comes back. He's like, excuse me, garage prepper guy. I've got experience. So he talks about his experience. He was a gunner in Afghanistan. He's got a lot of experience behind weapons. So he makes the argument for a shotgun being a very effective tool and weapon against multiple assailants. I said, okay, you're not John Wick. Good intel, thank you. So he's got the business. He knows what he's talking about, and he talks a lot, gives some really good information in this. 12-gauge up close and personal, like in the hallway of your house, is effective. One-shot center mass for engaging people. So yeah, he talks about the cavitation and expansion of body tissue. Like he gets pretty. Don't hit a vital organ, a person doesn't go down, like the movie. So what he's talking about there is like pistols are harder to be accurate. And if your whole goal is to put people down as fast as possible, maybe a pistol isn't the best one, especially in your house. Like you don't have to use a pistol. You could have a shotgun. You can't carry a shotgun around town with you, right? But that a shotgun with buckshot, I mean, that's essentially giving you like 9 bullets, right? Instead of 1 bullet. So I'm trusting this guy's experience over my guessing. So yeah, thank you, sir. Searching for hearts. Hurt Feelings Report, episode 19. Members isn't the only way. The 68%ers ain't paying for more knowledge. Love your content, no doubt, but most people aren't paying for that. I said, paying for what? He goes, when I click on the recent members, only videos, it's $12.99. That shouldn't be right. I didn't set it at $12.99. Why is it $12.99? I think I set it at $10 because what YouTube does is it lets you set your members' ratings. You get to set the price. And I've seen other people do like $2.99, $6.99, $10.99. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to track all of that and keep good at it. So I just set a flat rate of $10. And I was like, that'd be sweet if people paid $10, right? And then I clicked the stuff that I thought I could provide. And I'll be honest with you guys, like so far, I don't feel like I'm giving members enough quality for their money. So I actually went back in. I certainly didn't set it at $12.99 though. That's weird. I'm going to go check on that. I felt like I wasn't providing $10 of value. So the bag video is when we hit 20,000 subscribers, I'm giving away that Vertex Ready Pack that company mistakenly sent me for free. So I'm giving that away to members. But I posted a video about that bag and I go, hey, I feel bad. I feel like I'm not giving you guys enough value for your money. So I went in and tried to lower it to $5, but that option in my settings is not available. So I need to find out what's going on there, because I'd like to lower it to $5. And what $5 gets you is a guaranteed response, an emote, a special little thing so I can see when you're commenting, guaranteed responses to your comments, and you get all of my videos ahead of time. So as soon as I post my videos, you get to watch them early. I feel like that's $5 of value, not 10. So I have to figure that out though. If it's $12.99, that's a lot. I wouldn't pay that. So I'm going to find a way to reduce that. I don't know how that, yeah, I'll figure that out. But thank you for that. Thanks for pointing that out. Were preppers wrong about the snap chaos? All BS, all AI BS. There's no civil war. There's no incoming missiles either. Laugh out loud. I said, okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. But I did get a response from a couple of my members, and they go, we don't pay for the perks. We pay to support your channel because we love what you're doing. And that's humbling. I appreciate my members very much. I feel like I need to give you guys more though. I'm like, I'm going to give you free stuff. So last time I gave away bags to just people like in the live, which is cool. I like doing that. And I gave away like $1,000 of bags. But I feel like my members, like I need to focus on my members. So a little bit, because they're paying money. They're paying money to be part of the channel. So I appreciate you guys. Where are we at? 6 days? Are we approaching the end here? What are we at? Almost an hour? That's perfect. What if we built a... This feels like... I feel like I've got AI in my comments. There's some comments that just get repeated over and over, like the same person keeps putting them out. It's very strange. Okay, Hurt Feelings Report, episode 19. A response to grandpa guns. While they can work, most are hunting firearms. Because in episode 19, I had people responding to the gun video saying that grandpa guns, like Old West guns, like 4570s were the answer. One guy said home defense. I was like, what? So he says, most are hunting firearms. They're still around because they've only had a few rounds run through them over the years. Okay. I talked about how SDI, when I went through SDI, they talked about how lever action have a complicated action in them, so they tend to malfunction more often, but I don't know if that's true. Most have to have the action manually cycled to reload for any follow-up shot. They're slow to reload with a tube or a fixed box magazine. Ammo cost is higher because unless you use a military cartridge, there are no cheap FMJ ammo for it, only hunting rounds. That makes sense. Second, you talk all about being all kitted up. Looking back to the American Revolutionary War and Civil War, I see a civilian unit used as either town or infrastructure defense against military or marauder groups. My thought is something like the Battle of Corydon, where only young boys and old men were left to defend the area against Confederate troops. Yeah, I think that is a more likely scenario, right? We're not going to be organized offensive guerrilla groups or anything like that. Episode 19, Hurt Feelings Report. God, I love getting stoned and watching these. What? Someone else said, still not sure. That's Gen X 74. Gen Xer 74. You're like my age, sir. What are you doing? Still not sure says same. Are people getting stoned and watching the Hurt Feelings Report? I don't smoke weed. I smoked weed like once when I was young, and it tasted bad. It made me sleepy. So I stopped smoking it. This is the last one. Hurt Feelings Report, episode 19. I talked about Jeff Cooper, how people were like, how do you not know who Jeff Cooper is? He's a legend in the... Okay, Jeff Cooper's great. He's awesome. Icy Prepper 76 says, even I know who Jeff Cooper is. He's the guy that made the Statue of Liberty disappear. Everybody knows that. Oh, shoot. Woo. That's good. All right, we're right at 59, 1 hour. That concludes Hurt Feelings Report episode 20. Tomorrow evening, there will be a live coming out. So usually Sunday evenings, I try to do lives. I just posted a shill spill that'll show up next week. And I have a couple other philosophy videos coming out next week. So I hope you stick around. And I will see you all later. This is Mike Tango Whiskey, and I'm all clear.